Silvia, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Spooktober. Today, in honor of the release of what I believe is going to be a great deck, which is the Seasons of the Witch Winter Tarot. So a tarot deck released by Rockpool that is, let's say, created by Lorianne Anderson and illustrated by Tekana Lukovic. It says here also as a subtitle, A Journey Through Yule and Imbolc. So basically this is a tarot deck by the same creators and illustrator of most of the Seasons of the Witch Oracle decks. And for what I could see, because I've only just watched a couple of walkthroughs, I'm very excited about unboxing this deck because it looked like I would really like it and I would really enjoy using it. Having said that, I really hope that the cardstock it's okay, because I've already heard a few people complaining about it. I really do not want the cardstock to be so bad as to taint the experience of having received this deck and having the possibility to work with it, because I really love it. And you know what? Let's just open it. But today I'm going to show you, in honor of the release of this deck, I'm going to show you my top 10 witchy decks. Okay, so the box is really nice, really sturdy. You know, when Rockpool is doing things, they're doing things right. Sometimes they make mistakes, but you know, it's human. It's normal to make mistakes. I really hope that the card, I'm so scared, but I really want to be hopeful. So, okay, let's just open this up. Ribbon, yeah, always appreciated. Makes it so much easier to lift the book, which feels really chunky. I am liking that, of course. I do love Lorianne's writing style for all of the other Seasons of the Witch Oracle that I've got. A Journey Through Yule and Imbolc. And let me just see a couple of things. So, forward, introduction, the spirit of winter, the seasons as archetypes. The seasons as archetypes. I wonder if that's related to the minors, to the alchemical elements referring to the minors. I don't know, I'm not sure. I think I'm actually going to check that out. How to use the card. There's also card spreads. So let me just double check the seasons as archetypes, which is page 7. Because that could be really interesting. An archetype is a model, prototype, or example you can follow for good or bad. It's helpful to think of an archetype as a person expressing traits or qualities you may want to emulate or avoid. So far, so good. For example, a boss woman is an archetype. Their positive qualities will be assertiveness, confidence, having grand vision, and being a strong organizer and leader who is able to juggle many tasks. Having worked as a boss in a corporate environment for the best part of 20 years, I would disagree with this. I was certainly organized, but assertiveness, I don't know. I was a leader. I'm still in touch with people that was working in my team, but you need to lead by example, and sometimes that means that you're also helping out in a very humble way. But in any case, I get it. Sorry, it's just, you know, going off on a tangent. That's so me. I mean, let's go. All archetypes have shadow qualities as well. In this case, the boss woman might be aggressive, entitled, arrogant, and prone to dismiss the opinions and ideas of other people. If you decided you wanted to start your own business, you might study this archetype and attempt to model yourself on the positive qualities while staying mindful not to give in to the more negative qualities. I don't know where this is going. I'm interested. It's common to hear spiritual leaders talk about working with the energy of something like the energy of water or the energy of the full moon, but it can be challenging to understand what that energy is and how to access it. That's where archetypes come in. Water or air or the moon or an animal can be viewed as an archetype with positive and negative qualities for you to explore. The same is true for the seasons. Okay, here we go. So spring, summer, fall and winter, each of which represent expressions you can model yourself on for growth, healing, clarity or awareness. Okay, now I get it. Of course, it's relating to the seasons of the witch, obviously, with different characteristics for each season when it comes to nature. You plant, you make sure that you nurture, you growth, and then you harvest, and then you celebrate. I get it. Tarot is a collection of 78 archetypes, with each card representing a different energy or personality. The High Priestess represents intuition and the value of learning from experience, while the Queen of Wands represents someone much like the boss woman who is confident and able to see a long-term vision. These personalities come together in a reading to tell a story the same way a fairy tale is created to teach children moral lessons. You'll have main characters, the major arcana, and supporting characters, the minor arcana, all interacting with each other to tell the story of where your energy is right now and where it might be heading. I feel like we need to get to the point, otherwise I'll stop reading. The theme of the tarot deck is an additional archetype that adds one more layer of all qualities to the existing one of the tarot. What you have in your hands is a tarot with the added layer of winter. Remember that seasons are also archetypes. But you're not telling me. Winter represents the energy of rest, reflection, and rejuvenation. Okay, got it. This is the time of the year when slowing down is the prescribed medicine. This cycle is important. It's far too easy to push yourself beyond your limits, thinking you have so much to do or accomplish, until one day you look up and realize you pushed yourself too hard for too long. You don't even know where you've ended up. You just kept going, pushing the boulder down the road without a map. Unless you give yourself periodic breaks to evaluate how far you've come, switch gears if you need to, and chart the course for what comes next. I would have to say that I agree, especially because this is literally what I want to do. This Spooktober, last year, I never took a break from the darker side of my practice, and I paid for it because I was exhausted. Emotionally, I was really a wreck by the end of the month. It also felt, I don't know if you watched the videos, towards the end of last year in October, I kept on saying, I get it that it's wonderful to receive messages from beyond the veil, but I need a break. And so I would literally say, don't bother me today, I just need a break. But it was too late. I was really kind of overwhelmed and probably also a tad burnout. So I do understand what they mean with this. I thought that would have been, okay, it's a good enough explanation. I just expected something different, but that's okay. How to use the cards, etc. So we do have a spread here, reversed, let's see, the reversals combining tarot and oracle. Obviously that is something that we're looking to doing because, it is pretty much within the same realm, within the same world and planet. Okay, no, card spreads, 1 card pull, 6 cards reading, yearly, the winter hibernation spread, yearly shift spread for the new year, ascending to spring spread, beautiful, and winter tarot cards, and obviously these are all of the cards. So let's have a look at the cards, because it's always one of the main reasons why I am attracted to a deck, or at least the first reason why I decide to check a deck out is the aesthetics. I mean, it's the first point of call, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, first tactile experience. By the way, I really love this belly band with decorations here. These are, I believe, foxes, I think. So let me just zoom in, because obviously we love looking at all the pumpkins and the candles that I've got, but we need to see the cards, right? So let's just zoom in until I'm happy with how big they are. And let's have a look. So as always, this is a first impression, so I will make mistakes. pardon me, it's just me. I am so very enthusiastic when I do a first impression video about a deck that sometimes I get carried away in talking about something, and then I realize that it's not necessarily pertinent to what I'm showing you. But that's me, I guess. Okay, so the Winterful. That is one thing that I've seen in the walkthroughs, that the word winter is in every card. I didn't need it. I mean, it's the Winter Tarot, so I'm kind of already in the space of mind in which I know that this is a Winter Tarot. So do we really need to read the winter this and the winter that? Maybe not. It occupies space, but that's fine. I mean, it's not that big. It's just a word. So the Fool, really gorgeous colors already. And the Winter Witch. So the cards, this is really beautiful, absolutely cornflower blue, I would say, gilding. However, it is one of those that actually makes you feel like the cards are attached one to the other. And when it comes to the cardstock, let me just spend 20 seconds talking about it. It is super duper glossy. And so what I was hearing from the people who already have this deck and film something, whether it's on YouTube or, Instagram or TikTok, is that this is an incredibly glossy, slippery kind of cardstock on both sides, which means that the deck will most likely fan out like a charm, and it might be very easy to overhand shuffle. But when it comes to filming, for example, it catches the light. And there's other pros and cons. Honestly, it's not my favorite, but I don't hate it. And cardstock for me is a deal breaker only when it's truly bad. So much so that I cannot use the deck. Then it's a deal breaker. But if it's like this, it's okay. It's just be aware, it is super duper glossy. Really, really glossy. And but I'm thinking though, all of the Scissors of the Witch Oracle decks have a very similar kind of glossy cardstock, so it is pointing to continuity. Makes sense, okay, that's fine. So the Winter High Priestess. I'm gonna have to separate all of the cards, but anyway, the Winter Empress. This is so gorgeous, loving this one. By the way, these are the backs, really beautiful as well. And the Winter Emperor, and the Winter Hierophant, and the Winter Lovers. Okay, interesting card. And the Winter Chariot, really beautiful. I love any card that tells me, that reminds me of his dark materials. On the Chariot, there's also the Maraloon Tarot that has got my favorite tarot card of all time because it looks like Serafina Pekkala, which is a witch, by the way, of the his dark materials. So really loving this. The Winter Strength, really beautiful. But I knew already, the Winter Hermit, I knew it already because I did watch those walkthroughs and I was like, this deck is gorgeous, I'm gonna love it. It's absolutely gorgeous. The Winter Wheel, it truly is amazing. The Winter Consequences, okay, so this is the Justice card. You can immediately tell that from the scales. I'm liking this. Oh, okay, the Winter Hangman or Hangman. And Winter Death. Oh my God, look at this. Look at this card. Okay, apart from the fact that this, the hair that goes like that, it reminds me so much of the Moon card from the Lubanco Tarot. But also, it reminds me of a really gorgeous horror book that I read a few months ago by a Vietnamese author, and it's all centered around water, let's say, even though it's the seawater, but it does remind me of that spirit because on the cover, I believe there's an image, at least the edition that I got, there's an image that it looks exactly like this one, so I'm really liking it. Really love this card, guys, really love it. I don't know if you can actually see all the elements here. Really beautiful. And the Temperance card. The Winter Devil. Oh my goodness, look how beautiful this is. Wow. Wow, so beautiful. Very powerful. And the Tower, of course. And let's have a look at my favorite card on the deck. The Winter Star. Okay, a bit underwhelming. But that's okay. It's a bit underwhelming, but it's okay. You know what? Let me just quickly read out of the guidebook because it's the Star card. So I really want to make sure that I resonate with it. The Winter Tower, the Winter Star. After the events of the Winter Tower, the maiden finds herself drifting out in the snowy landscapes looking for sanctuary. It feels as though this journey has lasted forever. The winter fool stepping through the doorway has sustained blow after blow and isn't sure she can go on. I like it when there's a reference to the journey of the fool throughout the major arcanas, especially in some major arcanas through, the journey or the stops that he took in this journey, because first of all, that's the way in which I read the major arcana, so it is the hero's journey. But also because it tells me that the person writing, so Lorianne Anderson, has, or at least I think that we share a common view on how to read the majors, so I'm really on board. Just when the night feels darkest, a winter goddess appears in the sky to show her the North Star. Oh, got it. Okay. Wow. Okay, so that's the North Star, which is also probably when you would ask me something about the night sky in the Northern Hemisphere, the North Star is what I will always talk about. Because when I grew up, there were so many songs that I was learning to play and sing about the North Star and feeling lost and looking at the North Star and recognizing your path. So I literally grew up with the idea that whenever I feel a certain way, overwhelmed or lost or exhausted or burnt out, if you look up in a night that is void of clouds, you will see the North Star and that will help you find your way back. So how amazing is that? It's the concept itself is amazing. And it's actually astrophysics because, of course, the constellation used to help the sailors to navigate, so really love that. She can finally see the pathway forward. Yeah, she's back on track, heading where she's supposed to be. One day, she'll look back on this moment and realize this is the start of everything being okay. Oh, that's so beautiful. I love that. Wow. Okay, divinatory meaning. Hope is the main message of the Winter Star card. After a situation such as the Winter Tower, you need hope to move on and find light in the darkness. However, I have always thought this card represents purity of spirit. From the Fool until the Hermit was about learning, forward movement and setting foundations. Then the wheel turn and justice through to the Devil was all about restriction and learning to surrender. I agree with this. Then the Tower distilled the soul, stripping it of debris and pollution that had only been holding you back. The Winter Star is truly the moment when you are reborn and are most open to spirit, when you can finally say, show me where you want me to go. Inspiration and breakthroughs often follow the appearance of the Winter Star. A new you is emerging, and with it, a period of ease, peace, love, and clarity. In its purest form, your soul calls this card forth to tell you the worst is now over, and you can begin to heal. Loving this, absolutely loving this. Kudos to the writers, absolutely job well done. So moving on, the moon, or the new moon rather, and then we got midnight, midnight. Well, it's supposed to be the sun, number 19, but I kind of understand it because we're talking about the Yule and the Imbolc season, so obviously you have very little sun during those days. So the fact that we're looking at the sun card, but it's called midnight, I like it. I get it. I like it. And self-reflection for the judgment card. And then the world card is actually called Ascending to Spring. Amazing. Okay, so Ace of Winter Wands. So maybe they could have used the word winter just for the majors and not for the minors. Sorry, I'm doing this because They're really sticking one to the other. But it's just the first time. Then when you start using them, it will feel okay. 2, the 4, beautiful. Oh, it's beautiful because it's referring to Yule, of course. Well, at least, you know, Yule in the Northern Hemisphere. The 9 of winter wands. Yep, beautiful. Let's have a look at the core card. So initiate. Okay, I remember that they actually use different words as opposed to pages, knights, queens, and kings. So we've got initiate. Apprentice. Apprentice for me is more like the page. So, okay, I will have to remind myself of that. So is it actually the knight? Or are they just swapping them? Apprentice of winter wands, apprentice of winter cups, and winter wands. Apprentice of winter wands. We found a young maiden gliding down a steep mountain. Her parents are always telling her this is too dangerous, but she's set on mastering this hill. Danger is what makes it so fun. She loves the thrill, the wind in her hair, and the speed she gains. This is definitely a knight. Specifically the Knight of Wands is all about adventure. And also jumping into an adventure without necessarily being ready for it. So yeah, it is definitely... So, okay, I will have to remind myself. This is one thing that I might not entirely be on board with. To me, an apprentice is always a page. The knight is a step further, but the initiate is the page. Then we have the apprentice for the knight and the artisan for the queen. That implies action, crafting. I wonder what they'll do for the artisan of swords, because the Queen of Swords is not necessarily about action. It's all in her mind, but we'll see. A master. Okay, master. I'm okay with the king being a master. So we got the winter cups, the 5. Oh, that's beautiful. And the 9 of winter cups. That's really gorgeous. And let's see, the 10. Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. And then initiate again. Okay, fair enough. Definitely the page you see with the fish jumping out of the cup. That's definitely the page. And the apprentice of winter cups who's not in motion. So this is a knight that is still dressed as a knight. I don't know if you can tell. There's an arm around the shoulders and stuff. But it's not in motion. So, I don't know. I mean, I can't be on board. I'm not going to let this distract me. I will just have to remind myself to not read The Apprentice as a page. I mean, it's not a big deal. And we need exercise for our brain, people. Artisan of winter cups. Okay. Master of winter cups. Okay, now the swords. The suit of swords. The 2. The 3. Okay, I like this because there's 3 thunders that come out of the, not the character, but the reflection of the character on the water. So I'm kind of liking that. The 4, they're all really sticking together. The 6, one of my favorite cards in the suit of swords. And I'm loving the fact that she's by herself, but she knows where to go because there's the lighthouse. I'm liking that. The 7. Wow, oof. Is that a wooded doll? Okay. 8, yep, checks out. And the 9 for sure. And the 10. So let's have a look. Initiate. Okay. Apprentice. And the Queen. So the artisan of winter swords, the Queen. I don't know, she's my significator, so I'm always hoping to fall in love with it because, you know, it's my significator, so I want to like myself. I want to like the card. She looks very much like an ice queen. It does make sense because out of all of the queens of a deck, when we talk about the winter tarot, it needs to be the ice queen. I get it completely. The Queen of Swords has this role, but she So in my view, the Ice Queen of lore, because there's always an Ice Queen, is neutral. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily negative. What I feel looking at the face of this card, of the character on the card, I feel some kind of rejection. And it might just be me, but I would have liked a different set of expression painted on her face. I know it's very difficult for you to see it through the camera. I did not see that when I was watching walkthroughs, and these are my first impressions. It feels like she's really pushing people away, which is not something that I will ever associate with, even if it's a winter kind of Queen of Swords, I would not see that. And the Master of, okay. Then a Suit of Pentacles, really beautiful. You know what? It feels almost like it will pair up really nicely with anything illustrated by Amanda Clark. So being this a tarot, I do have a couple of oracle decks illustrated by Amanda Clark, and it feels like these ones can actually pair quite nicely together. And because I love doing this with you guys, I'm actually going to try that out. So I'm going to pair it with the Enchanted Earth Oracle by Jessica LaHood, but the illustration is by Amanda Clark. I also have the Earth Angels Messages cards, but I just want to try this one out instead of both of them. And it's also because when it comes to, you know, size-wise, I would say the Earth Angels Message cards, whatever that deck is called, they're kind of on the smaller side, and I would prefer to use this one, which is the usual Rock Bull Oracle deck. And let's see. So obviously we're looking at a different illustrator. Amanda Clark is not Tihana Lukovic, but I do believe that sometimes, you know, different illustrators can actually be integrated in a reading with two decks when they're not too dissimilar, or at least when they offer you the opportunity to focus on the same set of vibes. Don't know if it makes sense. I feel like these two are pretty much made for each other. They are incredibly beautiful. Obviously, we need to, let's say, get in the set of mind that the Enchanted Oracle doesn't have human presence, whereas the Winter Tarot, the Season of the Witch Winter Tarot, has, I believe, all of the cards probably have characters, human characters. That is actually working in favor of the combo, because as I can see here, it kind of gives you a bit of a way to complement one luck on one side and one abundance on the other. So we have plenty of characters in the tarot deck, none in the oracle deck, but because when I use them together, I do give them the possibility to work together, to mesh their art styles and also the meanings and the vibes and the energies, etc. It feels like it's actually complementary. So for example, the divine timing with timing, trust and success coming out of the oracle deck, between the Master of Winter Cups, which is all about the archetype of the Hades, you know, the Lord of Hades, which is really beautiful because there is this sense of success related to a king as well that is coming from the divine timing. But there's also that sense of trust, because we trust the Lord of Hades with, you know, protecting Hades, but also keeping the separation between the worlds. And the Three of Winter Wands, which is all about expanding your horizon and having already assessed what you've got and knowing that you are ready for more. So you obviously need that sense of trust. Really liking this. I think it works really well. The Six of Winter Wands and walk away, and the Nine of Winter Swords, walk away from the anxiety. You can still look at what you've got and rejoice. Enough. Appreciated, patient, self-love from the Oracle, and the Queen of Swords and self-reflection, which is the Judgment card. This is a very powerful reading. I actually did not expect this to be such a powerful reading. I don't know if you can feel the vibes of these cards together. It really is very, very powerful. And yeah, I believe I've actually found the perfect match for this tarot deck. Obviously, I will use it with the Scissors of the Witch Oracles because, well, you know, it comes from the same environment, the same background and everything. But it feels like when used with the Enchanted Oracle, Enchanted Earth, Oracle, it really feels like it's found, let's say, an additional way to resonate with me, with the reader. So absolutely stoked of having found this one. I highly recommend it if you have these two decks. And by the way, they have both been published by Rockpool. I don't work for Rockpool. I'm not sponsored by them. All of these decks I have bought myself with my own money. So I'm not promoting them. It's just that, you know, there's some things that need to be said when it comes to, especially when it comes to Oracle decks. It feels like they are really promoting some winning products. I really, really believe that. And, you know, this tarot deck is excellent. I really love it. It's the couple of things that I'm not entirely happy about is about how glossy the cardstock is, but then again it makes sense because it needed to provide you with continuity out of the Oracle decks, and those are very glossy as well. So fair enough. Really, really love this. I cannot wait to use it. I will be using it this month because this is also witchy season, you know, it's Spooktober. But let's have a look at my favorite of the Scissors of the Witch Oracles. Imbolc is my favorite. Imbolc is because I was born during Imbolc and in the Northern Hemisphere, obviously. So now it feels all upside down, but that's okay. So it's also my favorite because it really feels like it's this invitation to rest. And maybe in these last 10 years, I've denied myself, even probably longer than 10 years, I've kind of denied myself the opportunity to rest when I could seize it. And now I'm kind of paying for it because, well, you pay for everything in life. There's no two ways around that. No two ways around that. Remember when you were a kid and, I don't know, you were sitting with the wrong posture and your parents were like, you'll pay for it when you grow older. And you were always like, yeah, whatever, I'm never growing old. I will never pay for it. It's never going to hurt. Guess what? You do. You do pay for it when you grow older because it's everything you do just, you know, has a consequence, especially when it comes to your body. When I broke my back, I broke my back on the 17th of July, 2004. And I'm still paying for it. Still paying for it. 21 years after that. So yeah, it's true. You pay for it. With your body, especially, the body keeps the score. But in any case, so going back to the sense of relaxation, the invitation to rest, the invitation to just, you know, just protect yourself, surround yourself with someone that loves you and protects you and will take care of you and will take decisions for you, because at this time in your life, you're probably better off not taking any decision. Like in this case, many of these cards kind of look like an invitation to close your eyes, indeed, and rest. Oh, there's a North Star. So the North Star is the star in the Winter Tarot, but there's also a North Star in the Imbolc. Let me just really quickly, sorry, it's just this kind of, let's say, connections are really important. North Star, I am an embodiment of what I seek, walking with purpose while focused on my path. Beautiful, because it does remind me of the meaning of the North Star, the star card in the tarot deck. Really beautiful. Winter woodlands. Snowflakes is always really nice. Rosemary bread, incense. See, it's everything. I tend to look at this deck and imagine everything I'm looking at is covered by a blanket of snow, which is my favorite landscape of all times. I was talking with my, keening. Oh, this is really powerful, very powerful. All done for just a moment in time, acknowledging before release and liberating what needs to be freed. I love this because that's exactly my, what I do basically when there's a lot of pain. I allow myself to scream like that, also to be scared for 5 seconds. That's all I'm allowing myself to feel. And then I know that it's out of my system and I can move on. Really, really liking that. House mouse, hello. Amethyst, of course, for protection. Never forget amethyst. If you are an empath, never go out without an amethyst. Bridget, of course. Blackberries and the serpent. It's really interesting. I talked about this card when I was doing the unboxing of this deck. I talked about this card at length. I actually read out of the guidebook. Because it's slither through and out as you shed in preparation for new beginnings. So this way it looks at the snake as some kind of a representative of the death card in tarot. And I really like it because you shed the skin and then you come out of it as a new snake or a new person and you're ready for a new beginning. So I really like it. Sap ceremony, casserole, which I love. Dawn, fantastic. Dark days of winter, yeah. And Dream Realm, coming of spring, cinnamon rolls. Loving this deck as always. One of my favorite when it comes to the Scissors of the Witch Oracles. I love the fact that they started, so the plan is to publish all of the seasons, so the winter, the spring, the summer and the fall or autumn. I don't know whether this will be the order in which they will be published. Because they started with the Scissors of the Witch Oracles, they actually started with the right season, the right Sabbath, because they started with Samhain in October. So obviously they reflect the Northern Hemisphere. But then they kind of went off because then they released Yule for Christmas, which is fine. But then they released, I believe it was in bulk, they released it in May, which doesn't make sense. And then they just completely veered off the path of the chronological order of these decks. It doesn't really matter. I mean, at the end of the day, it's also because, honestly, I don't always buy them immediately. I did buy the Winter Tarot as soon as they released it, simply because I had seen it a couple of times and I really felt like I was going to enjoy it. And this is witch season for me. October, Spooktober is witch season. So obviously having the tarot deck would have been helpful in my practice. But if they jump from winter to summer, so be it. Anyway, there's another tarot deck that I wanted to show you because it's not from Rockpool. It's from a different publisher, but the artwork is also by Tikana Lukovic. So we've seen the Winter Tarot illustrated by her. We've seen the in bulk illustrated by her. And the Witch's Shadow Work Oracle is also illustrated by her. And by the way, this is one of the decks that I'm using the most these days, because of shadow work. But as I always say, if you do shadow work, please never forget to take a break, because you need to, because otherwise you're going to be overwhelmed and so on and so forth. But as you can see, that I really use the guidebook a lot. So this is a slightly different deck when it comes to the layout. Let's say this one has white backgrounds with a few exceptions, and borders. So there's a couple of things that are actually different from the releases by Rockpool, but it's okay. It's a different company and it's a different deck. But to me, because of the fact that is the same illustrator, it belongs to the same realm and the same planet. I mean, look at how beautiful these cards are. This one tends to read like an archetype deck. So obviously you need to be aware of that, because sometimes I don't need a lot of archetype decks, to be honest with you. I only have 2. This one I do consider an archetype deck. And then I have the Kim Kranz's archetype oracle or archetype deck, the round one. That is my favorite archetype deck because there's a lot of work behind it. The guidebook is amazing. Everything resonates. It feels really, really good. And I do a lot of work with that. This one is another one that I really appreciate. But throughout the decades, I have rehomed a couple of specific archetype decks because they were just not resonating with me. This one is really good. It's really on point, and I am absolutely loving the artwork as always. Would I say this is just for shadow work? No, but it is great for shadow work. I highly recommend it, and it is a very witchy deck. I mean, these are the backs, very nice. The guidebook is amazing, written by Claire Gorty. So just in case, you know, what's the publisher actually? Watkins. It's being published by Watkins. Okay, moving on to another witchy deck. We've got a few, so I might have to speed it up. Guys, I mean, I love it when you guys make a comment saying, we like it that your videos are longer than a lot of other tarot tubers. I love it when you say that, but every time I'm like, I really don't want to bore you. I really don't want you to be like, let's skip ahead. She's still talking. Oh my gosh, she's still talking. Let's skip ahead. I don't want you to do that. So this is a mini. Sorry, I'm gonna have to zoom in as much as I can here. This is a mini, teeny tiny. And I didn't even tell you the title. This is the Witch's Tarot Mini by Llewellyn. Alan Dugan with illustration by Mark Evans. I am a fan of this deck. This is such a gorgeous deck. So much so that I actually, well, I put the full-size deck into my wish list because I kind of want to see the cards a little bit better. These are actual tiny cards. It's, you know, no secret. All of the tiny decks are tiny. Otherwise, you know, Silvia, you should buy the full size. Coincidentally, I bought a deck, again, a tiny one, just the other day, and I cannot wait for it to be delivered. But unfortunately, it wasn't a choice for me to buy the tiny version of it. It's the Lighthouse in Fog Tarot. I love that deck so much. Really so much. It's been on my radar since March. And it was full size. It was still available back in March. And I thought to myself, this is going to be available for a long time. I don't have to buy it now. It's okay. I can wait. No, I should have bought it because now the only one available is the tiny one. And it's such an amazing deck and I want to see the cards. Like in this case, I want to see the cards. This one, however, is still available. These are really beautiful, by the way. They are very, how should I say this? Generally speaking, this will be a deal breaker to be able to recognize faces and not have them stylized in the characters. Like this one could be someone that I know, for example. So that would normally be a deal breaker for me, but it's only the case in a couple of cards, not all of them. So still loving it. Look at this 5 of Pentacles, how gorgeous this is. Really love this deck. It is tiny, so it's super duper easy to shuffle. But at the same time, as I said, I'm probably going to get the full size. And I know many of you, when I talk about this deck, you reach out and you actually tell me, look, it's available. It's really beautiful. You should get it. It's a gorgeous deck. I believe you. I believe you. I know that I should get it. Moving on. A deck that I hesitated to buy. The Cozy Witch Tarot deck, let me just zoom out now because obviously it's bigger than the tiny one, by Amanda Lovelace, and the artwork is by Janina Medeiros. I would have to say, and you guys know me, I was hesitating because there's no age diversity. There is fantastic diversity when it comes to ethnicities, when it comes to body shapes. But when it comes to age diversity, not so much. There might be 2 cards that show a slightly older kind of character. Everyone else is super duper young, and that's one of the reasons why I was hesitating. I thought these kids could be my children, my kids. So I don't know, it does feel a little bit that way. I don't have children, by the way. I didn't want to say it in such a way that you might think that I do. I don't. I'm just thinking they could be, if I had children, they could be this age. And so I didn't know how I would relate to this deck. I got it because it was in super duper sale, like really crazy discount. And I was like, I really don't have any other excuse And I love it. I ended up loving it. It's fantastic. I love everything about it. I love the cardstock is papery, but that's the tactile feel that I actually prefer. I like the fact that even it's got some corners here, some borders here, but they're really nice color. I love the fact that there's a sentence at the bottom of these cards that is not something that takes me away from a reading by distracting me, but actually it gives me the opportunity to dive even deeper into that specific card. I love that it's very pumpkin spice latte kind of deck. I just love that there's a lot of witches literally with their cats or their wolves or their foxes. I love everything about it. It works wonders, really works wonders. It reads like a charm. I promise you, this is an amazing deck to read with, honestly. And I don't know, I know that there will be an Oracle deck. I believe that it's probably being released in the US first. Maybe it's already been released in the US. I will get it as soon as it's released in Australia. I don't remember whether it's called the Cozy Witch Oracle, maybe. But this is such an amazing deck. I really like it. And there's another deck, a witchy one that needs no introduction because I've worked with this deck and keep on working with this deck so much. I've actually used this deck with my members the whole month of, I believe it was September. I don't actually remember. Was it September? It might have been August, but in any case, you know, not currently. Currently, we're doing the deck study together with the energies of the week videos, but this deck used as energies of the week video, and actually going through the spells was really awesome. I tried a couple of spells. They worked. Really, really love it. It's written, it goes straight to the point. It tells you what to use the spell for, how to use the ingredient, etc. If you need to focus on affirmation and something like that. It is absolutely fantastic. If you were looking for a spell focused deck, look more further because this is it. It's just really great. It works wonders. There's also spells for 4 or 5 different types of, let's say, categories. So obviously you can choose, you can find anything that suits your purpose or your situation. Let me just say these are all positive white magic spells. There's nothing, let's say, there's nothing against anyone. There's protection spells galore, which we obviously need. But it's the worst is not really a bad thing, but if you're familiar with protection spells, Return to Sender is probably one of the most popular ones because you don't mean any harm to anyone, but you send back that kind of energy that someone that does want harm to you, you're sending back to the sender that kind of negative energy. So this is probably the most I could say about let's say, but it's still white magic. It's still protecting you. Your main drive is to protect yourself rather than to harm someone. But if someone wants to harm you, you don't just take it. You don't just stand there and take it. You just send it back. So absolutely fantastic. The home protection simmer pot I tried. Reclaiming your power as well. So really, really fascinated by this. Maybe you don't resonate with the images. I did hear from a couple of members when I was using this for my members. They were saying the images look a little bit too, what was the term used? Too different one from the other, like there's different styles and everything. So it wasn't cohesive. That was the critique that I heard. I don't even look, honestly, I don't even look at the images. I just look at them once. But the important thing about this deck is the fantastic guidebook. And so I highly recommend it. It's very witchy. It is very witchy. I mean, using the spells, obviously. And then moving on to another deck that is absolutely gorgeous. This is the Witch, W-I-T-C-H. So Woman in Total Control over Herself. And this one is actually by Angie Salins. But it's been illustrated by Silas Tobol. So this is a deck that a lot of people was kind of hesitating to buy, because I remember watching a video of many of you who backed the Kickstarter campaign for this deck, and you received a deck literally after, so not all of you obviously, but I heard from a couple of you who received the deck as a Kickstarter reward deck after it was made mass market. So that did not go down well. And you know what? I didn't back the Kickstarter campaign. I just directly bought the mass market edition. Obviously I'm happy with it, but I get it. I get where you're coming from, because it's like, I back a Kickstarter campaign from an author, a creator, because I want to sustain, I want to support them, I want to promote their work, and I'm paying a little bit more than a mass market deck because of that. In exchange for that, I would love to see that I actually contributed to the well-being and the support of this artist. But when you see that it's immediately going mass market, it's like, well, why did I pay, $80, $100 instead of $25, $30? I mean, it doesn't make sense, right? So I get it. I completely get it. I don't have that problem because I did not back the Kickstarter campaign. I really like it. I think that the images are absolutely fantastic and the guidebook is really good. Not as book as other decks that I've got. So this is a, as I said, mass market US Games release. It is, so if there's a couple of things that I wanted to say, many of these cards are really dark, as in, not dark as in vibes or energy, but dark as in coloring and white balance, and so, or brightness. And I would have probably preferred a different approach to the card, as in, I would have loved to have this part of the card a bit brighter in order for me to look and see what I'm looking at, understand what I'm looking at. Through the lens, I have to say, it doesn't look as dark. In real life, it does. If you have this deck, you will remember. In real life, all this is really dark blue. I can't really see much. Through the lens, I can probably see something. This is due to the fact that my camera is automatically tweaking the images by adding a little bit of brightness to them and sharpening them, and so that's the result. But in real life, you don't have that. So this is the card that convinced me to buy this deck. I love these flying blue whales. They look absolutely gorgeous. There's also a calf here. I've been swimming with whales and calves in Tonga, Pacific Island. It was one of the most amazing emotional moments of my life. She of the invisible ally, so really beautiful, because there is this idea of not being alone, even though we cannot necessarily see somebody's walking side by side, but we still have someone. This is an amazing deck. This is truly an amazing deck. When it comes to the guidebook, really dives deep into these archetypes, the way in which they are presented. The Lion Queen, the Trailblazer is beautiful, the Empress of Pleasure, Failure's Muse, there's something to be said about that as well. Not always wanting to succeed, understanding that failure is also a success because it leads you somewhere, or it gives you the opportunity to learn from failure. Psyche, this is a fantastic card as well. Priestess of Original Innocence. So I really appreciate what has been done in this deck. As I said, I don't have that problem of having backed the Kickstarter campaign, so I am pretty happy to have been able to find it mass market with a reasonable price. And again, as I said, the guidebook, absolutely worth reading it. It will go deeper into the meaning of these cards, which is something that you need to do. You need to do, because there's an intention, there's a manifestation behind these cards, and you might want to know what this is. So we are down to 3, so almost done, almost there. Now this one is in Italian, I'm so sorry, but however, I know for a fact that this deck is being published in English as well, just with a different title. I don't know the title in English. If you do know that, please share it with everyone in the comments below. This is O Scrigno delle Streghe, so it's basically the witch's chest, the chest of a witch. And it does come with an incredibly beautiful book and cards. There's only 25 cards, unfortunately. I would have loved for that to be at least 44 cards. But I believe that in this case, it's probably the intention was to publish a book with some cards as a compendium, not the other way around. So I'm kind of okay with it. The book is amazing. It truly is amazing, not just the content, but also the illustrations. They are really gorgeous, as you can see. Obviously, this one is, as I said, in Italian, but there is an English version. So it talks about everything related to witch's wisdom, let's put it this way. So this is truly an amazing book that I highly recommend to, let's say, it gets you a deeper perspective on everything that is related to witchcraft in a very positive way, very beautiful, artistically amazing. And just to show you the cards, as I said, it's only 25 cards, so we don't expect, I honestly don't really use this deck simply because with only 25 cards you need to find a way to use it. But I do read out of the book quite often. They're really good cards because it doesn't just give you the title. Yeah, I know this is a flame, but it tells you illumination, hope, and manifestation. So it does give you a couple of keywords associated with the image and the title of the card. These are the images that we've just seen in the book or guidebook as well. So really loving this. It's kind of dark. Does it feel like it's a kind of dark deck? So it is divided here in chemical elements, as you can see. Terra is earth in Italian. And then we just had water, we just had air as well, acqua, fuoco, fire. Oh, look at this one. Agnes Waterhouse, emozioni intense, intense emotions, being guilty and morality. But I love that there's a kitty cat there, and the cauldron, Bella Donna, Alice and Device, Tarassaco. What is the name of this flower? I forgot. Dandelion? Is it the dandelion? Sorry. But in any case, really beautiful. But this was here because I really appreciate the book and I just wanted to show you the book. It just so happens to have 25 cards. And as I said, it is available in English as well, just so if you wish to acquire a copy. And moving on, there's just two left. So one is, well, I couldn't not talk about this one because it's actually gorgeous. It's one of my favorite oracle decks from Lo Scarabeo because it's got so many cards. This is the Compendium of Witches Oracle by Natasha Elincic. And this one is, well, I just said it, it's being published by Rockpool, but at the beginning of time, it was an indie publication. And I don't know, if you have the indie one, could you please let me know whether the book is bigger, because as you can see here, I don't know if you can see, but I'm gonna tell you, there's very little written here, and the reason is that you only have 47 pages, probably even less. The compendium, there you go. It starts here. It starts at page 12. What? Why does it start with number 3? Okay. So it starts at page 12 and it goes on to page 47, which means that we only have 35 pages and they're not full. I don't know if you can tell. So there's not much written when it comes to the cards themselves. So I'm just wondering, because this is all different languages. So I'm just wondering if you have the original version, did it come with a guidebook? And is the guidebook better than this one? Because I might look into it. I also know that there's a couple of differences in the cards, as in I saw someone doing a comparison video and it felt like they have been recentered for the mass market publication, and it also because I believe, could be wrong, but I believe that the original indie edition actually had borders. I might be wrong though. In any case, this is absolutely gorgeous. I love the art style. I love the cardstock. It is, again, papery, so I really like the tactile feel to it. Really, really love the vibes. I also love the fact that it's divided into two groups of cards, let's put it this way. So these are the more witchy related kind of cards, as in you also have archetypes in here. And then the other part of the deck is like this. So these, it's a bit of a mix between witches' familiars, witches' tools of the witchcraft. As you can see here, also divination elements, and so on and so forth. It's just really, really cool because when you go back to, as I said, the guidebook, I wish you would talk about these elements a bit longer, but it still gives you a full paragraph, if not two, of interpretation of these. And it actually works really well. This is a really beautiful deck, and by the way, it pairs up really nicely with Witch's tarot decks. So really, really a beautiful deck that I highly recommend. But yeah, if you do have the indie edition, please just let me know about what you can tell me about the guidebook, because I would be really interested. And the last but not least, this is a tarot deck, and I have to say, as far as tarot decks with the witchy theme goes, I actually prefer this one on top of everyone else. But we do have a new contestant, because now that I have the winter season of the witch winter tarot, I think that there's gonna be a bit of competition. But this has been my favorite for a while. So this is the Witch Sister Tarot by Julia Jeffrey, which is also the creator of the Hidden Realm Tarot, both of them published by Llewellyn. So obviously, as you can expect, being it a Llewellyn publication, it does come with a fantastic companion book, which is this one, Taking Flight with Your Witch Sisters. I already love the title. More often than not, the Llewellyn companion books will have a different title other than the title of the deck. Which doesn't really matter. It always presents you with these fantastic full page, full color thumbprints. It's a full page, so it's not a thumbprint of the cards. So really absolutely gorgeous. I'm really in love with Julia Jeffrey's art style. I think it's absolutely amazing. Very intense, even more so than the Tarot of the Hidden Realm. And you will notice there's a lot more characters that are actually breaking the fourth wall in this deck, because they're actually looking directly at you, the reader or the collector. And that actually, it makes a difference. It makes a difference because there's a lot more engagement. There's also a call for accountability and responsibility. It's almost as if it were a call to action. Because they're looking at you. So really loving this deck. There's a few cards that I might not be able to show because of censorship. Unfortunately, it is what it is. Many of us have been stung by censorship on YouTube. So, sometimes we have to be aware of that. And we need to act as a consequence, which is a pity. Because I would love to show you all of the cards, because honestly, this is an amazing deck. I mean, look at the Hierophant, which has been renamed Tradition. Isn't it just fantastic? I love to think of the Hierophant as the one that is always in contact with Beyond the Veil. And so they are not just learning in order to keep their teachings valid and current and not obsolete, but they're also guided by their ancestors or the wisdom of the ones that are beyond the veil. So I really love this interpretation or this depiction of the Hierophant card. So there's also a few renamings, stones for pentacles, skies for air, swords, waters for waters and cups, of course. Look how intense the gazing of these characters is. I just really love when I feel so involved, with these decks. I just feel so involved with these characters. Even the ones that are not looking at me right now, they just demand my attention because of everything that they express. And it's something entirely gorgeous. And I really love what Julia has done with this deck. I feel almost as if the Tarot of the Hidden Realm was a little bit of a stepping stone for her, in order to create this, which is for me just a masterwork. Just really a masterwork. Really loving it. Look at the Eight of Waters, for example, with the seals here. And to me, this feels like it's a reference to the Selkie, the Irish myth. So there's a lot of things that are ingrained in folklore, of course, out of this deck. And it is a pleasure to go down the rabbit hole, and we've got a rabbit here and here. So it is an amazing deck. It's very witchy. The vibes are incredibly witchy. And obviously, if that's not your thing, fair enough. Look at this Five of Stones. Oh my God. So if this is not your thing, fair enough. But it is, if you do like witchy vibes in a deck, this is absolutely my favorite. So that was it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.